Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful metaphor for human relationships, and it comes from, of all places, the world of partner dance. The source material we're looking at uses the dynamic you see on the dance floor to build a pretty specific, almost classical philosophy about the roles of man and woman.
Okay, so let's just jump right in by challenging a word we all think we know. When you hear lead, what comes to mind? For a lot of us, it's about power, maybe even control. But our source material is asking us to look much, much closer at what's actually happening between two partners on the dance floor.
So, let's break this down. The source starts by looking at the mechanics of leading, but it frames it in a really interesting way. Not as an act of dominance, but as this incredibly sophisticated and subtle form of communication. It's like a whole conversation happening without a single word.
So, according to the author, leading is a pretty profound responsibility. It's all about giving these clear, precise signals through a language that both partners have to know intimately. It's a craft that's built on sensitivity and awareness, not just brute force.
And this right here, this is the crucial distinction. The author argues that real leading is about guidance, not control. It's a two-way communication, not a one-way command. And the goal? It's all about highlighting your partner and creating a sense of unity, which is, the total opposite of overpowering them just to assert your own power. And this language is just incredibly nuanced. We're talking about tiny squeezes of the hand, subtle touches, the specific angles of the body, even direct communication just through a look or a facial expression. It's this rich, intimate dialogue that's built on both touch and sight. All right, so now let's get into the specific roles the author assigns to each partner. This is really how the foundation of the dance gets built, and the source uses two key terms for this, the pillar and the style. First up, the man's primary job. According to the source, his function is to create and maintain what's called the frame. And this isn't just about, holding on to your partner. It's about building a structure. So, what is this frame? Well, it's described as this stable physical connection between the partners. You can kind of think of it as a shared space that provides all the support, the safety, and the clear boundaries that allow for expressive movement to even happen. He is the pillar that holds it all up. Okay, so you have this supportive frame. Now, within that frame, the woman's role, as the source defines it, is to be the expressive force of the dance. This is where all the artistry and personality just comes bursting to life. And you've got to pay attention to the words the source uses here. They're so powerful. She is the one who generates the style. She becomes the center of interest. She's the one bringing the beauty, the personality, and what the author calls the fire of life to the whole thing. And to really embody this raw creative energy, the author brings up this incredible image of an ancient sculpture, the unleashed Maenad. Now, this figure, it represents a kind of wild, untamed, generative force, which is the very essence of the styling that the source is trying to describe. And this is where we get to the real heart of the idea. The author takes this whole dynamic, this partnership from the dance floor, and expands it into a much, much broader philosophy about life and relationships in general. So the claim here is really explicit. The dynamic we see on the dance floor, it's not just about dancing. The source is arguing that it's a direct model that mirrors what it sees as the essential and complementary roles of man and woman in life itself. This table just lays it all out so clearly, doesn't it? You can see the direct lines the author is drawing. The man, as the pillar, his function is to provide support and safety by shaping that frame. And the woman, as the style, she provides the beauty and attraction by acting as the generator of life within that frame. So, how does this all wrap up? Well, the author points to the very end of the dance, this final sequence of gestures, as the ultimate summary of the entire metaphor. This, in the author's view, is the whole purpose of the thing. So just picture this final sequence, right? The music ends. The woman makes one last spectacular movement. And what does the man do? He physically withdraws. He points right at her, and he directs all of the audience's attention, all of the applause, entirely onto her. It's presented as the very peak of their partnership. And wow, this quote just ties it all together, doesn't it? The measure of a successful lead, according to this source, isn't how impressive the man looks, it's how much the woman shines. Her brilliance is the ultimate proof of his skill as a leader. So we'll leave you with that thought. The source gives us this really specific, powerful model from the world of dance. But it begs the question, right? Whether you're thinking about creative partnerships or business or even family, where else might we see this dynamic of a supportive pillar creating the frame that allows a brilliant style to flourish?